I, 40 male, started to cheat on my wife, 38 female, but stopped halfway through. Do I still tell her? What? Ah, what? I want to know the reason why he stopped halfway through. Let's get into it. My wife and I have had a great relationship. I can't say I have any real complaints. We have been together for 5 years, married for two of those, and up until now, I would have said I would never stray. You're not making your case for you strong, buddy. I was away for work last week, and while I was in the hotel, a young woman, 21 female, sat next to me and began to flirt with me. Can I just say something about being on business trips? Okay, I've been on a few in my life. I can see why the workforce why people gravitate towards that because you're surrounded by all these pretty people, you have unlimited drinks. Like, I can see why people cheat on each other because it's so tempting and it's right there and it's available to you. Not condemning. I'm just saying when I went on a work trip and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, all these people were hardcore flirting with each other and they're hella old. I'm like, you got kids, like you're married, like what are you doing? I don't know what it is about work trips that does this to people. Anyway, I have to admit it was a real ego boost to be flirted by someone so young. I started to get that middle-aged dad bod and have been feeling like I'm losing my looks a bit. After a bit of talking, the woman invited herself back up to my hotel room. What? She doesn't invite herself up, okay? You invited her. Let's not get it twisted. For me, it was all about the thrill of being desired by someone other than my wife. Why? Why? Why do you want to be desired by someone else? Isn't marriage about being desired by your spouse? Like, that's all that matters. Why do you care about someone else wants you or not? The person who wants you the most has you. Isn't that what matters? Especially by a very young woman. See, the keyword young. I don't know what it is. Men love the validation. Old men love the validation of a younger, prettier woman. I was slightly drunk and I figured I'll probably never get the opportunity to sleep with a 21-year-old again. Disgusting! You're 40! Ew! But the thrill wore off very quickly as I realized that I wasn't enjoying myself. This girl was not good in bed. That's your reason? Oh my god. You're digging your grave deeper and deeper as I continue reading this. She basically just laid there and starfished. Sometimes she would pull herself into what she thought was a sexy pose, but that was it. She didn't seem interested in me at all. I might as well have been a human dildo because she seemed more interested in herself and how sexy she thought she was. Sleeping with my wife has always been amazing. When I'm with my wife, she's all over me, talking to me, and telling me how hot I am, grabbing me, touching me, getting on top, and so on. I feel like the hottest guy in the world when I'm in bed with my wife. With this girl, I felt like I could just leave the room and she might not even notice, let alone care. She seemed like she just wanted the ego boost of a guy finding her attractive. Pot. Meet kettle. I couldn't stay aroused and I stopped about 10 minutes into it and asked her to leave, which she did. I just took a shower and then called my wife to hear her voice. Now I'm back home and so far I haven't told my wife about any of it. There's a guilty part of me that says I should because she deserves to know, but another part of me says, why should I torpedo our happy marriage and cause her pain for something that I didn't even enjoy and will never do again? What is this man saying? From what I can understand, you're saying because you got zero enjoyment out of it and you will never do it again, there's no point in telling your wife. Oh my God. All it did was prove to me that I want my wife more than anyone else. I want to do the right thing, but I genuinely don't know what the right thing to do is here. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Let's not play games. I know that I will never ever stray again. Should I tell her or keep it to myself? I think you're just too chicken to tell her because you know the direction that this will take and you didn't have to test the waters to know what you had because you already had it great. And that's your fault for making a mistake. You never know. Your wife might, the slim chance that she might be open to talking about it and forgiving you, but she deserves to know. It's not fair because she has to hear it from your mouth because if it comes around, you're saying she'll never find out. You don't know that. It could come back and bite you in the ass. And when she finds out from someone else, you have zero chance of survival. Am I the asshole for demanding my fiance to stop teaching our kids bad manners? My fiance Lola and I have been together for 5 years, engaged for a little over a year, and we have twins, boy and girl, 2.5 years old. Our wedding is in 2 months. Lola usually takes care of feeding the kids in the morning since I work early, and so I never noticed this until recently. I took a week vacation from work to just spend time at home with my kids and Lola and started to notice something that bothered me. Lola has been teaching our kids bad table manners and sees nothing wrong with it. I haven't noticed this before as they don't eat this type of food for lunch, dinner, snacks, or eat it all the time, so I guess I just missed it as I wasn't home or she fed them other things on the weekends. This morning, I was helping Lola make breakfast, and then I got the kids ready while she brought their food out for them. As they were getting ready to eat, I noticed they didn't have forks, spoons, so I told Lola I would get them, and she said there was no need. I watched instead as she gave the kids tortillas that she ripped into pieces, and they were using their bare hands to grab the food using the pieces of the tortilla. I asked her what she was doing, and she should be giving them utensils, but she seemed shocked that I was concerned and said that that's how they usually eat. I told her that she was teaching them bad manners and making them think it was okay to just grab food with their hands. They're 2.5. Relax, chill out. She told me they do that anyway when they have chips or grapes or tacos and pizza, and listed a bunch of other snacks and fast food you eat without utensils. But I pointed out that those things are usually made to be eaten quickly or on the road, like fast food, so utensils aren't needed. She said I was being offensive by calling her way of eating gross and saying it was having bad manners. But I do think it's gross to see someone grabbing at food with their bare hands like that. They're babies. Oh my God forbid you travel to other countries where their main utensil is their hand. She said she grew up eating like that and would always use tortillas to make things like eggs or meat, rice, beans, and that it wasn't gross because she always made the kids wash their hands before they ate. I'm telling you, whenever the best food I ever had was food that my mom fed me from her hand. That, I don't know what it is about your mother's hand. When my mom would feed me rice and meat and stuff and she would grab it in her hand and feed me, it just tasted so good. And this guy's just being so judgmental. I ended up giving my kids forks for them to eat, which they didn't want to use, which made me even more frustrated with her because now they're used to this. It's not like she's giving them macaroni and cheese to eat with her hand. She was using tortillas. What? Lola has been really annoyed the rest of the day and wouldn't let me help her with lunch. And earlier she was walking around the house speaking to someone, probably her sister, in Spanish about me, and I'm starting to feel a bit annoyed. So am I the asshole? So he puts an edit here. He goes, I will add that the kids can use utensils and use them with foods like soups, pastas, etc. I just fear that allowing them to continue using their hands will make them used to it.
In high school, I was standing outside of a dance, and this girl who I'd never seen before in my whole life came running up to me all excited and screamed, Kate! And she gave me a huge hug. She didn't go to my school. She wasn't from my town. And everybody was like, oh, you know Kate? And this girl said, oh yeah, Kate and I go way back. And she said, wait a minute. Do you go by Kate or do you prefer Katie or Caitlin? And I said, no, I go by Kate. What do you go by? And she looked so hurt and wounded. And she said, Emily. And I was like, right. I know your name is Emily. Obviously, I was just do you go by M or Emma or anything like that? And she said, oh no, just Emily. And then we were friends, I guess, but I don't remember ever meeting her. And she added me on Facebook later that night. And we just, I pretended like I knew her for a long time because that's what she said. And she looked so hurt when I didn't know her name. And we stayed friends for years after that. We've fallen out of touch now, but I think about her all the time. Because did I know her from grade school or something and forget about her? Or did she gaslight me into being friends with her? She just walked up perhaps and pretended like we'd known each other for a long time? And gaslighted me into being her friend? I mean, I don't think that highly of myself that someone would feel the need to do that. Because that's kind of crazy, but also brilliant. She just, skipped past the whole getting to know you part of relationship. She was like, this is one of my old friends. And I was like, okay. And then we just acted like old friends. We didn't do small talk because apparently she knew everything about me. The more I explain it, the creepier it sounds.
Am I the asshole for wanting my girlfriend to pay me for staying home with her son while she goes to work? We have a 10-month-old together and moved in with her mom when we found out she was pregnant. She works a corporate job and I work for a small business owned by my uncle. Our son is in daycare 4 days a week and my girlfriend's mom watches him the other days. But like any baby, he gets sick and we have to stay home and watch him. My girlfriend had 3 months of maternity leave and my uncle gave me 2 weeks of half-paid leave. All of my PTO days except for 2 were used to stay home with our son. My wife also gets a lot more sick and vacation days than I do. We also have separate finances. Anyways, there's been a bug at the daycare and he's had to stay home for 5 days the past 2 weeks. I've stayed for 4. Am I the asshole for wanting my girlfriend to pay me for staying home with her son? Because I'm out of PTO, I asked that she either stay home with him more often when he's sick or pay me for staying home. Since our finances are separate, I feel she's prioritizing her career over us. She got defensive and ranted about how she feels marginalized at work already and doesn't want to get overlooked for promotions. She said she feels constant pressure because she doesn't want to seem less devoted because she has a kid. She said her money is our money and it's not her fault that I ran out of PTO days. She said we're saving by living with her mom, and since she earns more, she should be the one working more often. Also that women have sacrificed their careers for decades so men can go to work. Am I wrong?